Hey guys, making a quick video here. I'm already halfway through this, so bear with me, I guess. But this is a minnkota fortrex 24 volt. It's the 80-pound model. I think it's a 44-inch shaft. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. This part's all the same. I had an issue. I don't know how it happened, but the bottom piece of the power head broke, and I mean it broke. So I took that off, and when I took it off, I found, there's all kinds of shit falling out of it. It's junked. Luckily, you can get these parts from Minnkota, like factory original parts, and I feel like this piece was like maybe $6. And there's one other piece I'll show you in a different video that I ordered that was, $7-8. So it's still really affordable, still easy to service. But what I want to show you, you're going to pull this head off. The top piece will come off. It's like a clamshell kind of thing. There's 4 screws, one in each corner essentially. They're Phillips head screws. They are self-tappers. Focus, there you go. So you pull those screws out, lift the top off, it'll come off. There is this little spring in here. It's not really under a ton of tension, but you should probably just be careful it doesn't go pinging across the room, because you'd never find it. But once you get that head off, you're going to find these are your power wires for your trolling motor down there. And this is the power wire for the indicator light that lights up your directional light. It's actually an incandescent bulb, kind of cool. It's fused too, which is pretty funny. Yeah, so once you get things cleaned out, there was bits of plastic in here. I kind of just wiped it down with a rag, made it look presentable. And then I have some super lube. This is just PTFE grease. I think this bottle came from Harbor Freight years ago. You can see where it's cracked, and I've taped it up. Good grease though. It's not expensive. Well, actually that tube was pretty expensive. Anyway, PTFE grease. You're just gonna lightly grease stuff. I mean, I didn't go light, but I also didn't just cake it. Once you get that in there, then you're gonna want to put your harness back in. So to do that, obviously you've got the strain relief at the very back here, or rather the front. That's gonna kind of fit in the channels. You've got your cable guide here. That's gonna wanna sit in there just like that. There's 4 screws that go into that. And then you've got this splined coupler, and he's gonna sit, actually he's upside down. He's gonna sit like this. So the bezel or chamfered edge goes up. And what that's gonna do is tie, those splines are gonna tie into the motor shaft. And I'm turning that with my fingers. You can see I'm turning the whole motor. So that's how you tie your steering cables in. So if you ever need to replace your steering cables, this is the end of them. And that works just like Bowden, like a bike cable, brake cable on a bicycle or something. But I'm gonna get this slap back together. I'll take another quick video showing that, and we'll get it buttoned up. One little tip I wanted to give, when you're putting these self-tappers into the bottom plate, in this case they're gonna cut their own threads because this is brand new. But if you're reusing an old piece, when you put that screw in and start it, you're gonna want to turn it backwards, until you feel that screw kind of click and it'll fall down. And when it does that, that tells you that you've engaged with the old threads. So you're not gonna basically bore out the hole, which is what would happen if you put the same screw back in the same hole a dozen times without paying attention. Eventually you'll wear that hole out, and it'll basically become a bored hole, and you won't get any engagement on the threads. But quick little update there. Okay, I got everything pretty much tucked in here. You got your plate with your holder for your lamp. It's also going to hold the indicator gear for the directional indicator. Your spring goes on top. 4 screws here. 1 screw here on this wire guide. Your cables, I went ahead and replaced the heat shrink because these are power cables and they're kind of laying on top of each other. I did not shrink it down. Maybe I'll regret that later, I don't know. But this part here isn't going to be moving around too much, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Same thing here. Just tuck the wires back in there down like they were. Your indicator sits in here. And once you get that done, I'm gonna grab this guy and we're gonna stick him over top like this. There's probably some alignment we have to do here. Yeah, see, so they're out of time. So the trolling motor is basically at 6 o'clock, and see how he's pointed off to, you know, I guess that would be 11:50. Yeah, so I'll have to adjust the timing on that. To do that, I'm going to loosen this screw and I'm going to lift up on this gear to unmesh it from here, and I'll just twist it so that let's look at the bottom. Yeah, so the bottom, here's our top of our arrow, and it almost looks like it lines up, but yeah, I'm going to say it does. So you have a notch at each of your cardinal directions on the arrow, so just line the notches up. Same thing on here. So I'm going to do that real quick and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so if you draw an arrow from that tooth to that tooth, you know, we're more or less pointing directly to the stern. Same thing with the head at the bottom. So that should be lined up now. And if I come up here, we'll line things up a little bit. Sorry, the camera's probably going to be shitty right now, but it is what it is. That's it. So I got to put my 4 screws back in. And I may have to mess with the timing on the pedal, because it's probably, I can tell you right now, it's more than likely it's definitely off. Let's look. Yeah, it's not even engaging. So I think probably I'll have to take this lid off. And here, yeah, I can already tell. So here I'm just gonna have to wrap the cable around it again, which is good that I didn't shrink this heat shrink down, because I'd have to cut it. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and I will be back in a minute. All right, well, after about 50 cuss words later, I got this piece moved and realigned. The way it works is you need to have it wrapped one time, basically. So, actually, funny enough, oh, yeah, the pedal's at its forwardmost. Let's spin the motor. Let's see what happens if I spin it. There we go. Okay, motor's aligned to the rear. Pointer tab is aligned with the motor. Pedal's centered. If we look here, let's see. If you look on the top, that's my finger. If you look on the top, that cable is wrapped around here. Basically one turn. And same on the bottom. It just goes the opposite direction. So what that means is that when the pedal is centered, the motor is centered. And there you go. That'll give you a full deflection either way. Just like that. So that was a pain in the ass. The reason because I had to take all 4 of these screws out of this plate, because these cables are very taut right now. They're toy like a Toiger, but this cap is impossible to get on without removing that, so that you can mess with the alignment and get it to slide on there. Once you've done that though, there's a plate right here there's like a bulkhead that you have to push that in behind, and then it's a bitch to get the screws in. But a little bit of cussing and jamming screwdrivers in places, you'll get it on there. So that's all back together. All that I got left to do now is put the lid on, and we should be good. So I'm gonna stop right now and I'll show you when it's done. All right, got her all buttoned up. Everything looks good. I forgot to mention there's 3 screws here that hold the bottom of the head to the shaft. Just loosen those out. These are machine screws. These are not self-tappers. So make sure you keep these separate, because if you put a self-tapper in that hole, you're gonna bugger it up and your shaft will be giving you problems. So I'll come over here, I'll hit the button, or the pedal rather. I got full control back. You can see the little doohickey on the top of the motors lined up. And you know what I just realized? That's backwards. So actually, I'll have to fix that, but I may not even worry about it. When you're putting it all back together, The arrow points the opposite of the propeller. I got it backwards, but no biggie, easy to fix. That's 4 screws, 1 more screw inside, and then just lift it and twist it. Actually, no, that's just 4 screws, and you spin the thing around and put it back on top. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I might do another one with this pedal, but I feel like this is gonna be a pain in the ass. I've gotta replace this piece. This is the base. So when I was installing this in my well here, I had a screw break off because I was using stainless, and I couldn't get it out, so I just broke the damn thing after I confirmed I could get the part from Minn Kota. So this I may or may not do, but we'll see.